Coming up, a film by two Chapman University seniors focuses on an interracial couple who broke barriers here in California. That story is just ahead.
My name is Ben Sherman, and coming up, I'll take a look at the state of the race on the Electoral College map.
Many pro football players receive multiple head injuries during their time on the field. Now new research says some who have retired for long-term health problems. That story plus your weather and sports coming up on Chapman News.
From Dodge College of Film and Media Arts, this is Chapman News.
Good afternoon and welcome to Chapman News. I'm Caroline Linton.
And I'm Tegan Calley. We begin today with breaking news in local politics here in Orange County. Orange County's 1st District Supervisor, Andrew Doe, has resigned from the Board of Supervisors amid federal investigation. Prosecutors held a news conference earlier today. The Orange County Register reports Doe will plead guilty to conspiracy to commit bribery. The federal investigation involves $9 million of COVID relief for the Viet America Society, which Doe's daughter worked at. Prosecutors say the money was embezzled for Doe's personal use. Last month, the OC Board of Supervisors formally censured Doe and stripped him of all committee assignments.
On the presidential campaign trail today, former President Donald Trump is in Miami for a roundtable event with Latino leaders. Yesterday, he visited North Carolina surveying the damage from Hurricane Helene. Trump criticized the Biden administration's hurricane relief efforts and again claimed that the government funding is being funneled to border issues.
They spent a lot of money on bringing illegal migrants, people that came into our country illegally, and taking them in, and all of the money they've spent, numbers that nobody can even believe. So they don't have any money for the people that live here. It's a shame because they should have the money.
At another rally in hard-hit Greenville, North Carolina, Trump encouraged residents to get out and vote. The state is expected to play a key role in determining the election results.
Meanwhile, Vice President Kamala Harris is doing more media interviews today. She will talk with journalists from both NBC News and Telemundo. Yesterday, former Republican Congresswoman Liz Cheney joined Vice President Harris during a campaign stop in Wisconsin. Cheney, a vocal critic of Trump, aimed to sway undecided voters.
Think about how dangerous and damaging it is to have someone who's totally erratic, completely unstable, someone who has aligned himself with, who idolizes tyrants. The choice here with respect to national security policy is a man who has proven, he's absolutely proven that he will not stand up, he won't defend this nation with respect to our own Constitution and rule of law.
Harris's running mate, Governor Tim Walz, last night told Daily Show host Jon Stewart he is confident that he and the vice president can win over undecided Republican voters who Walz say, quote, want to find a reason not to vote for Donald Trump. Election Day is 2 weeks from today, and our reporter Ben Sherman joins us to take a look at how the electoral map is shaping up.
Thanks, Tegan. So behind me, we have the Electoral College map, courtesy of 270towin.com. There are 7 key swing states in this election. Let's start up here with the traditional blue wall. Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. Key states that Trump flipped in 2016, Biden got him back for the Democrats in 2020. If Kamala Harris wants to win this election, she needs a sweep up here in the blue wall. Her polling averages are ahead, consistently ahead, in Wisconsin and Michigan. We're going to give those to her for now. Pennsylvania, let's get back to it later. Let's also talk about the Sun Belt, fastest growing region in the United States. North Carolina, Georgia, Arizona, Nevada. Let's start with Nevada. Only 6 electoral votes, but key if Kamala Harris wants to be the next president. Has not gone for Republicans since 2004 when George Bush won it. We're going to give those 6 votes to Kamala Harris. Now, Arizona has not gone, it was a traditionally red state. In 2020, Biden upset Donald Trump there on the back of Latino voters. We're going to give that to Donald Trump this year. He is ahead in the polls consistently by over a point in Arizona. Georgia, another big Biden upset in 2020. Black voters got it done for him in Georgia by a very narrow margin. We're going to give that back to Donald Trump, however. The traditionally red state is trending back in his direction. Now, North Carolina, Mark Robinson, the GOP candidate for governor, embattled. Trump has consistently backed him and consistently maintained a slight lead in the polls. Many people are saying this is the closest state in this race. However, has not gone for a Democrat since 2008 when Barack Obama won it. We're going to give those 16 votes back to Donald Trump. Now, Pennsylvania, it all comes down to Pennsylvania. 19 electoral votes. If Donald Trump takes Pennsylvania, he gets to 281. He will be the next president of the United States. Flip that around to Kamala Harris. She will be the next president of the United States if she carries Pennsylvania and sweeps that blue wall. Guys, these 7 states are going to be razor thin on November 5th and will determine which way this election falls. Tegan, Caroline?
Thank you, Ben. U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken met with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in Tel Aviv today as Israel continues its air and ground assaults in Lebanon. This is Blinken's 11th visit to the region since the start of the Israel-Hamas war just over a year ago. Blinken's arrival came just hours after Hezbollah launched rockets into central Israel. The Israeli military has continued to target buildings in Beirut, which they say house Hezbollah operations. In a post on X, formerly Twitter, the IDF claimed that a gold-filled bunker owned by the late Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah located underneath the Al-Shala hospital in Beirut. Hospital officials evacuated the facility in fears that it could be targeted.
It may be hard to imagine now, but 93 years ago, it was illegal for Filipinos here in California to marry outside of their race. Now, 2 student filmmakers here at Chapman University are shining a light on the love story that changed everything. Chapman News reporter Serena Martin Baile has more.
The film is called East Did Meet West. It's based on the historic court case Roldan versus LA County and the love story between Salvador Roldan and Marjorie Rogers. In 1931, Roldan applied for a marriage license to marry Rogers. The LA County clerk refused to issue it because Roldan was Filipino and Rogers Caucasian. East Did Meet West producer and director duo Chapman students Lexi Berganio and Aiko Lazar co-wrote the script. They say they felt a strong connection to the story.
When we were discussing what we wanted to do for our thesis, we were just lightly researching, and we found so many personal connections to Salvador. For example, he's Ilocano and both of us are Ilocano, which is there's a very small majority of Filipino people who are Ilocano.
The film follows Roldan and Rogers as they fight to be together. Aiko and Lexi believe it is important to highlight Filipino-American history and uplift minority voices.
I think it's really nice to have a community of filmmakers who are, people of color and who are women, especially with a story that is so culturally tied. It matters a lot to have people on your team who care about the story and the values behind it.
And I think this story in particular, aside from it being an important historical landmark and pushing forward interracial marriages, both of us having one Filipino parent and one white parent, it's just feels so personal to see this story on screen.
The film is currently in production and will be screened in May of next year. I'm Serena Martin Baile reporting for Chapman News.
A new bill recently signed by California Governor Gavin Newsom aims to prevent spikes in gas prices, but opponents say it could lead to higher prices at the pumps. The bill allows government regulators to establish new rules on backup fuel storage for oil refineries in California. In theory, this would prevent price spikes during a shortage or maintenance and place more accountability on big oil.
Big oil that knowingly continues to lie to the people of this state, our nation, for that matter, around the world. They are the polluted heart of this climate crisis.
Critics say additional regulations will raise gas prices for California drivers. Last week, a Chevron executive threatened that the company may no longer do business in California if the legislature moves forward.
New research is renewing concerns about head injuries suffered by pro football players.
Chapman News reporter Rosemary Wright is live at Wilson Field here on Chapman University's campus with the latest. Rosemary?
That's right, Caroline. Some former NFL players think they have significant brain damage years after their last time on the field. CTE, or chronic traumatic encephalopathy, is a rare form of brain damage that has been linked to repeated head injuries. The condition can only be diagnosed after death during an autopsy. A study by Harvard neuroscientists found that a third of former NFL players believe they have the condition. Retired offensive lineman James Brown, who played in the NFL for 9 years, was one of the players who participated in the study.
It was like the more violent, the harder you hit, the more violent you are, the more they liked it, the more money you got paid, so, there's guys that I played with can't talk, can't count to 10, can't say the ABCs.
Brown says that while the NFL now has more protections in place for current players, things were quite different back in his day.
But back then, they let you sit down, shake it off, run in place or something. In about 5 more minutes, you go back in the game. Nobody talked about brain damage or CTE at all. They didn't do anything to correct it till the lawsuit started.
Lawsuits against the NFL alleged that the league was aware of the long-term effects of repeated head injuries, but did not take steps to protect or inform players.
Thousands of hits over 10 years, for example, that is thought to be the predominant risk for CTE. We have no idea if they're going to be one of the people who have CTE in death. We have no idea how this will progress in life because there's not data about that. But we do know how to prevent and protect against neurologic illness. But if you're focused more on this being an untreatable, irreversible, relentless condition, it will affect people's psyche.
While Dr. Bickard emphasizes that researchers have not found a direct link between depression and CTE, multiple tragedies involving former NFL players have brought attention to the condition. Football greats Junior Seau, Dave Dorson, Aaron Hernandez, and Andre Waters all took their own lives, and each were found to have CTE. While the NFL is doing more to protect current players, Brown says retired players need more help covering medical expenses that arise with treatment of these injuries. Reporting live, I'm Rosemary Wright, Chapman News.
Coming up, it's National Make a Dogs Day with the focus on shelter adoptions. We'll have a special four-legged friend join us in the studio today to talk more about it. Stay tuned.
I'm Serena Martin Baile. Coming up in weather, we'll take a look at the flash floods in Roswell, New Mexico, and have your local forecast right after the break.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
This is National Make a Dogs Day, which encourages people to adopt dogs from shelters instead of buying them from breeders. According to the ASPCA, within the last year, almost 6.5 million animals have been rescued and placed in shelters. National Make a Dogs Day was created to advocate for dogs that have spent days, weeks, or even months in shelters waiting to be adopted. Staff at Wag's Pet Adoption, a high-save shelter in Westminster here in Orange County, note that there are more ways to make a dog's day than just by adopting one.
Even if they can't adopt, they can still help dogs that are in a shelter. We are chronically underfunded, so buying food even sometimes is a hardship. Make a Dog's Day, go buy us a case of food and we can give them all, some canned food with their meals tonight. That there is so much people can do without having to spend a dime to help a dog in an animal shelter.
Some good news on the animal adoption front. A Forbes report says that nationwide, the majority of dogs adopted over the past year were adults. That's a shift from the past when many people were looking to adopt puppies. Courtney Dorney, Executive Director of Wag's Pet Adoption here in OC, joins us now in studio to explain more. And she's brought a friend. Welcome, Courtney.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for being here today. So obviously, we have to start off by
of course.
asking who this is. Who is this cutie?
So this is Oshkosh. She is a Beagle mix puppy that is available for adoption now. She's about 8 weeks old, 9 weeks old, and just, well, she speaks for herself how cute she is.
So adorable.
I know.
Thank you also, Oshkosh, for joining us. How many dogs are up for adoption right now, and what can you tell us about them?
Sure. So we currently have around 100 dogs at our shelter, which is a lot more than we're used to having. For adoption, right now, all of our dogs are $50 because we're so full. We're trying to encourage people to come down and adopt and have the adoption fee not be the issue. Really, just come down and see everybody. We'd love to show off the dogs that we have. We have volunteers that come down and want to show off. We're a very open shelter.
That's amazing. Now, we know, gosh. You want to hold her? Oh, I would love to. Oh my goodness. Gosh, look at the camera. Now, we know there are so many more ways to get involved and help out other than adopting. So
Correct.
Can you walk us through how can people get involved, and what goes into contributing all the work that contributes to work at WAGS?
Oh my gosh, that's a really big question. I'm going to start with the easy one. What can people do? Kind of what I said on my Zoom call last week. You don't have to spend a dime. You can come in, you can do DIY dog enrichment toys. Use paper towel rolls, use toilet paper rolls, fill them with food, bring them in so that the dogs can use that to spend their day, since they do have to live in kennels, unfortunately. You can come and volunteer. That costs no money. Come and walk a dog. We also have a really neat program that I love. It's called our Doggy Day Explorer program, where you can literally take a dog out for the day and give them a break from the shelter. So we have people that take them on hikes. They take them out to lunch and get them an In-N-Out patty or a pup cup at Starbucks. Or sometimes they just let them go home with them and sleep, because it is a loud place to live in a shelter, and it is stressful, and they don't get good night's sleep usually. So they can just take them home and have like a Netflix day, and they can binge watch all your favorite shows with you. So that's all like, I could just be saying blah, 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 blah. Just kidding. But no, those are all ways that you can help any shelter, not just WAGS, but any shelter has volunteer programs where they need people to come in and help.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining us in the studio today.
Of course.
Thank you, Oshkosh. You're cutie.
She's available if you're interested. Anyone's interested, come down and see WAGS.
Well, thank you so much again.
Thank you. If anyone is interested in learning more about WAGS pet adoption or volunteering, check out their website.
Nearly. Got a little grab on me. Bye, Oshkosh. National Help a Dog Out Day. Now, nearly 40,000 people got a taste of Japanese culture recently at the 15th annual OC Japan Fair. Chapman News reporter Ben Moscoso has the story.
Vibrant colors and sounds were everywhere as the OC Japan Fair transformed the fairgrounds. The annual event celebrates Japanese culture and is one of the largest culture festivals in Southern California.
I've been excited for like a lot of the stands, a lot of the concession stands that they have, the food.
The event was made possible by Japan Product Promotion, a company which focuses on bringing Japanese food, music, and culture to the U.S. market. The company had its start in 2009 with the first OC Japan Fair and has since brought the event to the fairgrounds every year. JPP staff member Stephanie Yoshida says that the fair is important in bringing Japanese businesses to a new market.
It's like a gateway from Japan to United States. So I think it's a very good opportunity for a Japanese company to come in as a first step.
This year's fair brought over 170 different vendors selling Japanese merch and over 50 different food stands selling delicious eats such as takoyaki, katsu curry, and wagyu skewers. From delicious food to stunning performances, it's clear that the OC Japan Fair has truly brought the community together. Whether you're here for the art, the food, or simply to connect to your roots, there's something here for everyone. This is Ben Moscoso reporting for Chapman News.
Turning now to weather, it's a very serious situation in New Mexico with at least 2 people dead and hundreds having to be rescued after a flash flood in Roswell.
Our Serena Martin Baile has more and a look at our national and local weather. Serena?
Thank you, Caroline and Tegan. Roswell, New Mexico and surrounding areas were faced with torrential downpour. On Saturday, the storm brought nearly 6 inches of rain, the most rain in Roswell since 1901. The National Guard has been deployed to rescue people who were stranded in their cars. Nearly 300 people were rescued and many were taken to nearby hospitals. Cleanup efforts began on Monday after New Mexico Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham declared a state of emergency for Chavez County. Now, taking a look at our national weather. We'll be seeing lots and lots of sunny skies across the U.S. Let's look at our west coast. In Seattle, we'll be seeing 58 degrees with few of clouds. In our west coast cities like San Francisco, Las Vegas, and Phoenix, lots and lots and lots of sunny skies. San Francisco with around 77 degrees on average. Las Vegas, Phoenix, and Houston, sunny skies as well with an average of 85 degrees Fahrenheit. And in Denver, around 75 degrees. However, you can see with our little radar here that Minneapolis and Chicago will be seeing a little bit of rain. However, that doesn't stop the sunny skies. Minneapolis will be feeling at around 69 degrees average Fahrenheit. Chicago with partly sunny skies at around 73 degrees Fahrenheit. And looking at our east coast, cities, New York and DC, again, sunny skies with an average of 76 degrees in New York and 64 in DC. Moving down south to Atlanta, we'll see lots and lots of sunny skies with around 78 degrees Fahrenheit. And again, our radar is showing that Miami will see some rains and will feel at around 83 degrees Fahrenheit. So still warm because of the humidity. And moving to our orange forecast, we will be seeing lots and lots of sunny skies today with an average of 68 degrees Fahrenheit in Orange County. Now moving on to our cities here, you will see Fullerton, Orange, and Irvine with around mid-60s in terms of Fahrenheit, and Westminster will see around 78 degrees Fahrenheit. Our coastal cities, Newport, Laguna, and San Clemente will see around 68 or 60 degrees, mid-60s in temperature, San Clemente at around 73. And moving inland to Mission Viejo, we will see the hottest temperatures with around 84 degrees Fahrenheit. Now moving on to our 5-day Fenestra forecast for Orange County. We will see lots and lots of sunny skies today with an average of 79 degrees Fahrenheit and a low of 58 degrees. Again, lots and lots of sunny skies. However, on Saturday, we do see a little bit of overcast. And that is unfortunately all we have for weather today. Back to you, Caroline and Tegan.
California is cracking down on street racing and takeovers. Stay tuned to learn more.
I'm Cora Sinis. Coming up, we'll take a swing at the latest sports news, covering everything from the Dodgers' exciting win to updates from the NFC North. Those stories plus more coming up.
Difference can one vote make? Since 2023, more than 60 U.S. elections have been tied or won by just one vote. So this fall, your friend could be the tiebreaker. And that could make all the difference. People are more likely to vote when encouraged by a friend. So use your power to decide this election. Make sure you're good to vote and encourage your friends to make a voting plan at votevotevote.com.
Most people consume digital content through vertical videos, including Instagram Reels and TikToks. Now, feature-length movies are shifting from horizontal to vertical formats. Films have always been viewed horizontally. However, production companies such as Crazy Maple Studios are experimenting with vertical screens. Crazy Maple Studios owns Real Short, a streaming app that features a variety of serial dramas cut up into just 1-minute long videos because they are, quote, know that the viewers can't crave instant satisfaction. With stories titled Recipe for Faking a Marriage and Runaway Princess Bride, Crazy Maple Studios is accomplishing just that, and was even named one of Forbes' most 100 influential companies in 2024.
After a month on the shelves, the iPhone 16 sales suggest consumers are not seeing it as a must-buy item. Pre-sales were down more than 12% when compared to the iPhone 15. Apple had hoped the new AI or Apple Intelligence feature would entice consumers to upgrade their old phones. CFRA research technology analyst Angelo Zeno told CNN, quote, "When you look at the standard devices, they got a really great upgrade in terms of their cameras and internal processors." Wedbush analyst Dan Ives told CNN that the holiday season should boost iPhone 16 sales.
A Chapman alum's film is premiering today at the Newport Beach Film Festival. Carolina Esperaro's short film, Avon Lady, is inspired by her mother's journey as a Chilean immigrant seeking to succeed in America. Espero's mother stars in the film and tells the story of Rosa, who decides to face her fears of speaking English by becoming an Avon sales lady. However, she soon learns that success takes more than language proficiency.
You're going to have to be there completely terrified, completely out of your league, feeling like you don't know what you're doing, but you go out there and you do it anyway, and then look at the amazing things that can happen.
Tickets have already sold out for today's premiere, but you can catch an additional screening of The Avon Lady tomorrow at the Newport Beach Film Festival. California wants to crack down on illegal street racing, also known as street takeovers or sideshows. A law recently signed by Governor Gavin Newsom will allow law enforcement to seize cars that block roads, even if the drivers are not directly involved in street racing. Orange County Sheriff's Legislative Affairs Manager Ray Garnoff says street racing and street takeovers are dangerous to the public. He says the new law should help enforcement.
Address the phenomenon of street takeovers by helping us seize vehicles that are involved in these, particularly if they're people that are maybe not necessarily the drivers, but they're participants in it that make it that present the public safety hazard that these types of activities present.
According to LAPD data, the number of reports of illegal street races and intersection takeovers has increased in Los Angeles in the first months of 2024.
Universities around the country are coming together this week to educate students about alcohol abuse on college campuses. National Collegiate Alcohol Awareness Week is observed every third week of October, aiming to spread awareness about alcohol addiction among college students. A study done by the National Institute on Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism in 2022 found that nearly 29% of college students aged 18 to 22 engaged in binge drinking in the past month. The Centers for Disease Control defines binge drinking as 4 drinks for women and 5 for men, consumed over a 2-hour period. Lots of major plays in the world of sports this past weekend.
Our Cora Sinez has all the latest updates.
Thank you, Tegan and Caroline. Welcome back to the Panther Sports Roundup, where we've got all the latest in this week's world of sports. The World Series kicks off this Friday with the Los Angeles Dodgers taking on the New York Yankees. The Dodgers won the National League Championship Series on Sunday with a 10-5 win over the New York Mets. This will be LA's 4th World Series appearance since 2017, and the Dodgers last won the World Series in 2020. In NFL news, fans are still talking about the Green Bay-Houston matchup. The Packers took the lead against the Texans in the game's final 3 seconds, ultimately leading them to a 24-22 victory. The game was a nail-biter, with the Texans up by 5 at halftime, and the Packers up by 3 at the end of the third quarter. Texans kicker Kaimi Fairbairn made a field goal with 1 minute and 44 seconds left in the game, putting the Texans up by 1. But the Packers sealed the deal in the last 3 seconds with a 45-yard field goal from Brandon McManus, who the Packers just signed this week. More news from the NFC North. The previously undefeated Minnesota Vikings lost on Sunday to the Detroit Lions, leaving the Kansas City Chiefs the only undefeated team in the NFL this season. The New York Liberty are celebrating their WNBA championship. This is the Liberty's first ever championship win, beating the Minnesota Lynx 67-62 in overtime. The game came down to a crucial foul called on Minnesota's Alana Lynch. Lynx head coach Cheryl Reeve challenged the call, but upon further review, it was upheld, leading to Liberty's overtime win. Here in Orange, there's a new Chapman cross-country record holder. Sophomore Gavin White ran the fastest 8K in school history at the Highlander Invitational in Riverside this past weekend. His time just above 25 minutes.
When I first came to Chapman last year, my goal was always to break the record, and last year I got close, but I didn't quite get there, so I needed more training. And we don't have a lot of races this year, so this last week was really the last chance I had this year to break the record. So going into it, that was my goal. I was really set on that.
The Chapman cross-country team will compete next Friday at Cal State Fullerton. That has been our Panthers Sports Roundup. I'm Cora Senes, and we'll see you next week for more sports news.
I'm Reese Velez. Coming up on Chapman News, I'm highlighting a talented Chapman student who just booked her first major role in a popular Netflix series. Find out who she is after the break.
You are in the middle of a game. Adrenaline coursing through your body. And you are calling the shots. Feel the power as you control the game's narrative. From commentator to camera virtuoso, replay wizard to unyielding director. There is no better experience than being in the moment. Challenge your limits and embrace the electrifying rush that comes with the crowd's roar. You never know the epic plays you will capture and the masterpiece you could make. You could be an amateur learning on the fly or a pro wanting to expand your skills. You will always fit in. And what better place to broadcast your skills than in sports? Never knowing what is coming next and always coming across something new. Join the Chapman Sports Broadcasting Network and experience the thrill of life.
Everyone, time is running out. To participate in the classic German tradition, Oktoberfest, Gamecraft Brewery Laguna Hills is holding its annual Oktoberfest in Laguna Hills, featuring an authentic German dish and beer. Owned by Scott Slebla, says it is a family-friendly event.
Our whole thing has always been about building that community, getting people to slow down a little bit, sit here with their friends, their families, and relax. And beer and great food and a little bit of an experience are all part of that.
Oktoberfest at Gamecraft Brewery will conclude November 3rd, and admission is free. For more information, you can go to their website, gamecraftbrewery.com. There are plenty of talented students here at Chapman University making an impact on the entertainment industry.
Our feature reporter, Reese Velez, joins us in studio with a Chapman Artist Highlight. Reese?
Thanks, Tegan and Caroline. Today on our Chapman Artist Highlight, I want to introduce you to actress and singer-songwriter Audrey Quinn. Let's take a look.
Chapman sophomore Audrey Quinn has been acting for 13 years. Her love for performing started at a young age.
When I was younger, I feel like I've always kind of been drawn to being a performer. I remember watching TV and
thinking that I wanted to be on screen too. The more I got into it, the passion started like building, and I was like, oh my gosh, like this is actually something that I really want to do for the rest of my life.
Audrey spent her summer on set in South Korea, starring in season 2 of Netflix's young adult drama, Exo Kitty.
This was my first production to this scale. So this was my first series regular role, first time ever traveling for this kind of work. On set, it was just so much fun to kind of interact with everybody and kind of get to know everyone outside of the show. We were all just very like close in that space. Like we lived together for 3 months. We spent every single second together.
Currently majoring in music, Audrey stays involved in the Chapman community, singing in Chapman Commercial Music Ensemble and a cappella group Chapman Soundcheck. She also releases her own music.
I released a song a little while ago called Apartment Complex, and I just finished recording and mixing everything for an EP, which is so exciting.
Above all, Audrey is proud to be a part of the growing Asian American representation in Western media.
I never really saw anyone on screen that looked like me. Being able to represent the Korean American community in Exo Kitty and young singer-songwriters with my music, it means so much to me.
Looking out the window, watching you move on with some girl that you met at a coffee shop, like the one where we met just a couple blocks away from the street I can't drive past, 'cause all I see is everything we used to.
I'm here with Audrey Quinn herself. Audrey, please tell us where we can find you on social media and stream your music.
You can find me on Instagram and all music streaming platforms at Audrey Quinn, and if you want to see me live, I'll be performing at Contra this Friday.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us, Audrey. I'm Reese Velez reporting for Chapman News. Back to you, Tegan and Caroline.
That's all we have for this week's edition of Chapman News. I'm Tegan Callie.
And I'm Caroline Linton. We'll see you next week.